I never thought I'd be the kind of person who'd betray my own mother. But here we are. I remember the day she told the family everything, as if it were just another conversation over dinner. I had no idea what was coming when she casually said, "You know, your daughter has been hiding things from all of us." She had that look in my eyes, the one that says, "I'm doing this for your own good." But I knew better. She wasn't protecting me. She was punishing me. For years, I'd trusted her with everything. My darkest fears, my most intimate secrets, the things that no one else knew. I thought I could rely on her to be my safe space, the person who would always be on my side. But when I made a mistake, when I did something she didn't approve of, she didn't just punish me privately. She didn't just call me out once. No. She told everyone. My cousins, aunts, uncles. Every single person who was there, who I thought I could trust, now knew things that should have stayed hidden. And she smiled while doing it, like it was some kind of lesson for me. I don't know why I never expected it. After all, I had grown up seeing her manipulate the people around her. But it always seemed different when it was me. I was her daughter. I was supposed to be the one she loved unconditionally, the one she kept close. But instead, I was just another tool in her emotional arsenal. The worst part? I wasn't even sure what my offense was. I didn't even think I'd done anything so terrible. Maybe I was a little too loud at family gatherings, or maybe I had disagreed with her about something insignificant. But none of that should have justified what she did. Telling everyone about my private life wasn't some act of discipline. It was an act of betrayal. It was a slap in the face, and it felt like I had been pushed into a corner with nowhere to go. I remember sitting there, frozen, as she spoke about me in front of the entire family. I could hear her words echoing in my ears, but they felt distant, like they were coming from someone else. The silence in the room was suffocating, and I felt the weight of every gaze on me. I wanted to scream, to run away, but I couldn't. I just sat there, numb, as she laid bare my deepest insecurities. It was like watching my life crumble, piece by piece. Her words weren't just random accusations or half-truths. She told them everything I had ever trusted her with. About how, as a teenager, I struggled with depression, how I even tried to take my own life at one point, but couldn't go through with it. She exposed my battles with demons I had kept hidden from everyone, even the people closest to me. She spoke about my fear of losing people, and about the time I shared a secret that shook me to my core. How my first boyfriend, the one I had loved so deeply, had actually been with another girl before me and left her for me. It was the first time I truly realized how trust, the one thing that binds people, could be shattered into 1,000 pieces. My mother didn't just share my vulnerabilities. She laid bare the darkest moments of my life. It wasn't just about what was said. It was the humiliation of hearing these things come out of her mouth in front of my family. It wasn't because I feared these things would be exposed. No, it was because she didn't understand the damage she had done by making my deepest secrets public, by breaking that sacred trust we were supposed to share. But then, something inside me snapped. I couldn't let her get away with this. She'd taken everything I trusted her with and used it to tear me down. And now I would do the same to her. I wouldn't be the victim anymore. If she could expose my secrets, I could expose hers. I thought long and hard about it. The secrets I knew about her, the ones I'd never spoken of to anyone, would hurt her. They would hurt her far more than she ever hurt me. Her carefully constructed image of being the perfect mother, the perfect wife, it was all built on lies. And I knew exactly what to say to shatter that image. It wasn't just her faults I had to expose. It was her shame. The things she had done, the things she had hidden for so long, would come to light. The affair she had with that man when I was just a child, the lies she told my father about where she had been late at night, the secrets she had hidden from everyone, including herself. I knew it all. And now, I was going to share it with the world. She had kept that affair hidden for years. When I was younger, I had noticed the strange phone calls, the late nights, the unexplained absences. I never thought much of it, but as I grew older, I began to put the pieces together. The man she had been seeing behind my father's back was someone I knew. A family friend, someone who had always been around, someone I thought was trustworthy. But there was nothing innocent about their relationship. It was a full-blown affair. She had lied to my father every time she said she was out for business meetings or catching up with friends. It was all a lie. And now, I was going to make sure my father knew the truth. I didn't feel the same fear I had felt when she revealed my secrets. I felt a sense of power, a sense of control that I hadn't had in so long. I wanted her to know what it felt like to be completely exposed, to be vulnerable in a way that made her uncomfortable. I didn't just want revenge. I wanted to break her, the way she had broken me. So, I did it. I told the family everything. I was calm, controlled, nothing like the way she had been. I made sure everyone knew exactly what she had done. I made sure my father knew what she had been hiding from him. And the silence that followed was even worse than when she had spoken about me. The room felt suffocating again, but this time, it wasn't my shame I was feeling. It was hers. At first, I felt vindicated. But then I saw the fallout. My father, the man who had always been her rock, looked at her like a stranger. The man who had always believed in her, who had stood by her through everything, now saw her for what she really was. I watched as their marriage began to unravel. The tension between them was unbearable, and I could feel it with every glance they exchanged. I had destroyed something that had once seemed unbreakable. But what hurt the most was seeing the way my mother's face changed. The woman who had always been so confident, so powerful, now looked small. She wasn't the domineering figure she had once been. She was just a woman, exposed, vulnerable, and defeated. And I couldn't help but feel a twisted sense of satisfaction. She had done it to me, so why shouldn't I do the same? In the days that followed, my family fell apart. My father couldn't look at my mother without seeing the lies. The distance between them grew, and with it, my own guilt started to creep in. I had won my revenge, but at what cost? My mother and father barely spoke after that. The coldness between them was palpable, and I realized I had torn apart more than just their relationship. I had ruined everything. The family, the image we had built, it was all gone. There was no going back from what I had done. I had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. I never meant for it to get this far. I just wanted to make her feel the way I did. But now I realize that in trying to punish her, I punished myself too. The anger and the betrayal, it consumed me. It still does, even now. The regret, the guilt, it lingers, and I don't know how to fix it. I thought that by exposing her, I'd find peace. But peace doesn't come from revenge. Peace comes from healing. And now, I have to figure out how to heal a family that I've torn apart with my own hands. I had no idea how quickly things would fall apart after I spoke those words. At first, it was almost surreal. The way everything shifted in the days that followed. When I exposed my mother's darkest secrets, I didn't expect the wreckage to be so immediate, so all-encompassing. But as soon as I dropped the bombshell, it felt like I had lit a match and tossed it into a dry forest. The fire spread faster than I could ever have imagined. The first casualty was my father. He tried to act like everything was normal, like he could just brush it off, but his eyes told a different story. Every time he looked at my mother, I saw the change. It wasn't just disappointment, it was something much colder, something that said he was done. The man who had once held my mother, like she was the most precious thing in his life, now looked at her like she was a stranger. The way he avoided her, how he started spending more time away from home. At first, I didn't notice the small things, the subtle shifts. But soon enough, it became too obvious to ignore. His indifference was the loudest thing in the room. And it was breaking my mother in ways I couldn't have predicted. The tension in their home was suffocating. I could feel it even when I wasn't there. Every time I visited, every time I heard their voices through the walls, I could sense the distance that had formed between them. My mother, once so full of herself, so proud, was now reduced to a shell of the person I once knew. But it wasn't just my parents. The rest of the family was just as fractured. The same relatives who had once looked at my mother like she was an untouchable figure now whispered behind her back. Her closest friends, people I had once seen as second mothers, started pulling away from her. The silence in the room when someone mentioned her name. The way the conversation stopped whenever she walked in. These things hit harder than I could imagined. It was a slow burn at first, but eventually, the full weight of what I had done became clear. I had made a decision based on pain and anger, not thinking about what would come after. I thought exposing her secrets would bring me peace, but it only brought chaos. I began to see it in the way my mother looked at me, too. She wasn't angry. No, it was worse than that. She was heartbroken. I had never seen her so vulnerable, so defeated. For all the control she had exerted over me, all the ways she had manipulated me, and everyone around her, she had never truly understood how deeply she could hurt me. I don't think she ever thought I'd do something like this in return. I could see it in her face, her eyes filled with a sorrow that almost made me want to take it all back. Almost. But there was something else, too. Something I couldn't ignore. There was a part of me that wasn't sorry. There was a part of me that wanted her to feel the pain I felt when she exposed me to the world. And that part of me couldn't walk away from the wreckage I had caused. Days turned into weeks, and the devastation spread. My father, consumed with anger and betrayal, began shutting down. The house felt colder with each passing day. And I couldn't find a place to hide from what I had done. The guilt, the shame, it started eating at me too. The more I thought about it, the more I realized how much I had ruined. I wasn't proud of it. Not really. But I had done what I thought I had to do. I had sought justice for the years of secrecy, manipulation, and betrayal. But justice, I quickly learned, doesn't always come the way you expect. In the end, nothing was the same. The family I had once known was gone. The image of a perfect life, the life we all once lived, had shattered beyond repair. And I was left standing in the wreckage, unsure of who I was anymore. The worst part was how empty it all felt. Revenge hadn't brought me the satisfaction I thought it would. The aftermath was too much to bear. And now, as I sit here, I realize something. I can't undo what I've done. I can't fix the things I broke. But I do know this. The secrets I once held so tightly are now out in the open. And no matter how hard I try to put the pieces back together, some things can never be fixed.